Hello Figgy Fiends and Collectors, this is me, Daniel East 1000, back again with another Star Wars The Black Series figure review. Today we're going to be having a look at a character that I've been cautiously optimistic about getting from this line. It's a character from the Gaming Greats series of figures that Hasbro have been putting out there. It is none other than Darth Nihilus. I say that I've been cautiously optimistic about this just because if you check up my video up there from when this figure was first announced, it did look like it used certain elements from another figure, which we will discuss in the review. First and foremost though, let's take a look at the packaging and keep you a little bit in suspense before we go into that. So, as per usual, it uses the old style of packaging. For some reason these Gaming Greats line figures have continued using the older style of packaging. I think that gives these figures from this line a unique sort of identity. It also allows us to continue to see Gregory Titus's lovely artwork, of which is featured down there. Of course, with all these Gaming Greats figures, they feature the colour band or colouring in the artwork in the box that sort of relates to the character. So in terms of this, it's using the red, of which we're kind of used to with this old style packaging, because obviously it's a Sith Lord, so they've had to go with a red colour scheme there. But it's nice, it is still nice to see this packaging being used. Not sure if they're going to continue using it for next year, if they do decide to continue the Gaming Greats line. Got where the figure sits in there, the sticker for the Gaming Greats line, Star Wars The Black Series at the top. The media that this character has been featured in, so Knights of the Old Republic 2 video game, of which I'm not overly familiar with as someone who isn't really a gamer at all, but I do know a lot of people have a big affinity with that series of video games. With that being said, I have a bit of an affinity to the character just because from what I've read of him, he sounds really interesting. So if we continue on with the packaging, you've got a red band there with the Gaming Greats line and the name of the character. On the back, that lovely artwork again, the bio to the character, of which I will include in the description below if you do want to read that. As always, that lovely legal garb. And on the other side, of course, you've got the name of the character running on the spine. So that's pretty much it for the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure itself, of which I did say at the start of this review, did utilise bits from, as I can now confirm, this figure. It's essentially a bit of a retool, which isn't a bad thing. I think if Hasbro can reutilise and refurbish figures to make them more unique to a certain character, then by all means they should do it. It sort of works for this one. There's a couple of little gripes I have to say about this, but they're more so personal. So let's just jump right in. So here we have Darth Maul next to Darth Nihilus. As you can see, the body, part of the arms, the legs are effectively the same. The only new parts on this figure are the lightsaber, the head, obviously the big cape here, the lovely flowing cape that we've got, and the top of the arms, rather than baggy, they've re-sculpted those, and basically the little lower ends of the skirt or tunic there, which are very grubby and dirtied up and different to Maul's. Everything else is pretty much the same figure. Now some people are going to be fine with that. I fall into that camp really. Other people will be a bit like, well, I would have preferred to have seen a more unique sculpt. One of the main problems for me with them reusing this sculpt is just the fact that you've got that wide-legged stance that Maul has, and there's no real way to push his feet in. You've kind of been set to having a rather wide-legged stance. So for me that's a tiny little nitpick I have with this figure. Another one, I would have loved to have seen some more soft goods. I love the cape. I think the way how it flows is really nice. They've kind of pinned it down in a certain way that just makes it flow really nicely. But one thing I would have liked to have seen is if they made the edges of the cloak kind of similar to Darth Revan's, a little bit more rugged and rough, kind of like similar to how they've done these sculpted parts of his tunic, because they do look really rugged and rough there as well. So it's kind of a shame that they didn't really do that on the cloak, but it's not a major biggie. Honestly, I think I would have preferred it if we did have, you know, soft good robes rather than this plastic, but that would have potentially pushed the production cost up a little bit more. Yeah, it's not a major problem, but I think there's definitely a couple of little things that Hasbro could have done to elevate this figure a little bit more. For the most part though, I do really like it. If we have a look just a little bit closer at that head sculpt, you've got his mask there. Darth Nihilus is a character that I just think is really interesting, just due to the fact that he is basically a living void. Has a pretty tragic past. He's effectively a force ghost. He's that consumed to the dark side that he has physically consumed his whole body, and that's what he's really known for. He is the Lord of Hunger. He will literally drain the life force of his enemies and allies. Not to forget to mention a planet. He's a very hungry Sith Lord. He's pretty OP, and the fact that he is sort of just a ghost just makes him super spooky and kind of creepy as well. But I mean, I just really like the overall look and kind of like backstory of this character, and if you do get a chance to look into it, it's well worth a read, and it's quite complex, like with most of the stuff from the Knights of the Old Republic era. In terms of this figure, it does look kind of sort of standard issue, but the little additional parts, mainly in that mask, just brings something very different to the table. In terms of articulation, he has a ball jointed head on a hinge, ball jointed shoulders, ball jointed elbows, ball jointed wrists, ball jointed torso, ball jointed hips, swivel at the top of the thighs, double hinged knees, and ball jointed ankles with rocker joints. So you can get this guy in some really good dynamic poses. He doesn't really grasp his lightsaber as well as I'd like, just because obviously they've used a Darth Maul sculpt, and because Darth Maul is wielding his double lightsaber, they've kind of done the hands, so you're sort of set with having him hold this. Because this reuses that sculpt, his hands just have a very loose grip, so when you give him just one single bladed lightsaber like this, I don't know, it just sits very loose in certain poses. This hand seems to grip it a lot better, but yeah, that one doesn't seem to grip it as well. If I just give you a bit of a close-up on his lightsaber as well, it's got a very unique design to it, very unique, almost organic style. It's just very cool. Like with all lightsabers, you can remove the beam from the hilt. There's no like peg or anything to store it on the figure, which is a little bit unfortunate. But if you did want him to just hold the hilt without it being ignited, you can do that if you so wish. I'll just pop that back in. There we go. This guy is super cool. If you are a fan of the Knights of the Old Republic, this is one you definitely want to get, and I think it just brings something a little bit unique to the collection. And like I said in my Darth Revan review, I'd love to see more Old Republic characters get made. This one was on the top of the I want made list in terms of the Old Republic, so I'm super glad that we've got him. So I'll just give you one last little look at this guy. Just so badass, so intimidating. Just very different, that's for sure. So there you go. That's Darth Nihilus for you. Let me know what you guys think of this guy in the comments down below. And just before I sign out, I just wanted to pay my respects to David Prowse, who sadly passed away today. He was known for giving the physicality performance to Darth Vader in the original trilogy, truly made the character so iconic. People from the UK would also know him as the Green Cross Code Man. But I just wanted to end this video and say that my thoughts are with his friends and family at this incredibly sad time. this is me, Darth Nihilus 1000, sign out. Thank you very much for watching.